So y'all, welcome to the Chris Show this week. You know, this has been a week of mourning. Everyone's been sad that Kobe's passed. Honestly, the news cycle this week hasn't been the highest, but as we all know, it's Super Bowl Sunday. And with Super Bowl Sunday, not only do you get the game, but you get the halftime show, you get the commercials, and if you want, you typically have a Super Bowl party experience. So I'm going to go in depth about the overall Super Bowl. Was it better than last year? How good was it in general? Were there commercials? Were they dry? Were they memorable? What was my favorite one? I'm also going to be talking about the halftime show. As we all know, most halftime shows, either people love them or hate them. I'm going to critique it a little bit. But also for what's in the news this week, Lil Nas X, he won a Grammy for his best music video, but he also dealt with some homophobia in the rap industry. He might not be a big name now, but Pastor Troy, he came out with some things about Lil Nas and it had some people very critical. I'm going to go in depth about that and also talk about Lil Nas' commercial. Just to give a little hint, it probably was my favorite commercial. He's been killing it this week. And lastly, Terry Crews. I thought we were going to be done with that situation until more of it unfold. But this man, instead of doubling down on what he believed in, he is turning, and now he's trying to apologize to Gabrielle Union and fans in general. We're going to see if people are having it or they're not accepting his apology. So be sure to tune into the Chris Show this week. So the Super Bowl. So let's just go on the record. Last year's Super Bowl was boring as hell. It was 13-3. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I fell asleep in between the third quarter. That's how boring it was. It was a good game if you enjoy defense, but it was not a good game in general. So obviously expectations are very low for this Super Bowl to succeed that one. Just have a close game, have it be close in the fourth quarter, and fans are gonna be excited. I wouldn't say the Super Bowl is legendary just because the hype around the Super Bowl really just wasn't there. Kobe dying was a real reason why. Like, everyone was just more concerned about that, as they should be. He was a legend. We lost Kobe. But even before then, people just weren't that hype about Jimmy G, I feel like. Like, the Niners are a really good team, but they're also a team that run the ball a lot. And people don't like the teams that are built off running the ball and good off defense. So the hype was built around Mahomes and whether he was going to be able to challenge this defense. If you didn't watch the Super Bowl, the Chiefs won 31-20. The Niners were up 20-10, but then Mahomes had a whole comeback. It was really nice, but he was really off before that. Basically, the Niners had a lead. They couldn't sustain it. Kyle Shanahan, he was the offensive coordinator when the Atlanta Falcons blew that 28-3 lead against the Patriots. Now he blew this 20-10 lead against the Chiefs, so he's on record for being part of 2 big chokes of the Super Bowl. But like I said, it was an entertaining game. It came down to the final moments. Mahomes showed that he has that magic. He's 24. He has a Super Bowl MVP. He has an MVP. And he has a rings. He's on to great things. I think it showed that the Niners needed everything perfect for them to be able to win. And when things weren't perfect, we saw what happened when Jimmy G was down. He missed that throw that could have gone for a touchdown. The wide receiver was past the 2 DBs and he overthrew it and it was on 3rd and 10. It was kind of the game deciding play. Before I move on to talking about the commercials and the halftime, I just want to say Andy Reid, he got a justifiable Super Bowl. If you don't know who Andy Reid is by name, he was the coach of the Eagles when they had McNabb and they went to 4 straight NFC championships and only reached Super Bowl once and lost to the Patriots. He finally gets his due diligence and he finally wins a ring, so props to him. But like I said, enough about the football. Let's talk about the commercials. And so when we grew up, commercials used to be a big thing. Like, people, not to say a lot of more females don't watch sports as they compared in the past, but in the past, I used to remember girls used to like just tune in just to watch the commercials and the halftime shows. So it used to really be a big thing, but you don't see it really be as big as it used to be because the commercials, they either have propaganda or they already come out before the Super Bowl's release. They do these little teasers or previews. Either way, the hype for the commercials have died down. And there's only really 2 commercials that most people stood out. It was the peanut commercial where they said it was the death of the peanut, but they had the birth of a new one, so it was a cool commercial concept. So yeah, I had Lil Nas, had a little, you know, a cowboy duel with Sam Elliott. I've seen him on The Ranch, so I guess he's like a popular, famous acting cowboy or something of the sort. But either way, that was an entertaining commercial, but the majority of them, they had this commercial at the beginning where it was part of a commercial, but then it turned into the opening kickoff. That was very interesting. It caught me off guard, so that was cool. But in general, most people, they use the commercials to get food, they use the commercials to do whatever, but they weren't really watching it because they were bored. So now let's talk about the halftime show. And if you're a person that likes performances, or you're like dancing, or you're a man, you just want to see a girl shake their hips or do all that, it was a pretty entertaining halftime show for that. When you think of Shakira, J-Lo, what hits do you think of? You maybe think of My Hips Don't Lie or like Love Don't Cost a Thing, but either way, they don't make music worthy enough to highlight a Super Bowl show. There are some of the people that are the secondary acts I can see, but headlining it, they just don't have the quality of music. When you've had people over the years like Prince, Beyonce, and others, and you're gonna have J-Lo and Shakira, it was entertaining visually, but as far as musically, I wasn't vibing to it. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I listen to reggaeton, and I've had plenty of it in my iPod. It's just time and place. Or if they had translation, I don't know. I was a little disconnected, not knowing what they was saying at that time. When it's a reggaeton song I look up the lyrics or see what it means or has meaning, but you don't have enough time to do that during a Super Bowl halftime show. So that's where the disconnect is for some people, but if you're a Hispanic, you probably really enjoyed it. J-Lo put on, and Shakira, like I said, they had a really good dancing performance. It was good in that aspect. But musically, I just didn't vibe to it, so that's to me like a C+, because you got to put on a whole show after you saw what Beyonce did with performances. So let me know in the comment section, how did you guys feel about the Super Bowl halftime show? Did you enjoy it? Also, did you enjoy the commercials of the Super Bowl besides the two I talked about, or did you think most of them were not good? Let me know in the comment section. And also, just about the overall game, did you think it was a good game? Was it better than last season? Yeah, of course it was better than last season, but how do you rank the Super Bowl compared to others? Do you think it's good, great, average? Because to me, I'm in that it's above average, but I wouldn't consider it a great Super Bowl. It was definitely a good Super Bowl, though. It was enjoyable after the week we had with all the Kobe stuff. It was good to have a game that was close and was to the final moment. So yeah, let me know what you guys have to say about the Super Bowl, the commercials, and the halftime show. I'd love to hear it. So Lil Nas X, as I stated earlier in this video, he's had a big week. He dropped a remix to Rodeo with Nas, which they performed at the Grammys, and they dropped the song the next day. He also won a Grammy for Best Music Video with Billy Ray Cyrus. So he's been winning this week. But like I said in the introduction, Pastor Troy, a rapper, like I said, he was bigger in the 2000s. He basically said, this is what you gotta do to get a Grammy, huh? Cause if you didn't see, Lil Nas wore bright pink cowboy suits. And if you don't know, Lil Nas is openly gay. He's a very talented artist. He won. And he basically, Pastor Troy is trying to say, so this is what you have to do to win in the industry, huh? Keep in mind that no one has ever in their right mind thought, damn, Pastor Troy makes music that's gonna win a Grammy. So he's delusional in his own right for even thinking that he's worthy of being called for a Grammy. But it just goes to show the whole hidden homophobia in hip-hop. And I wouldn't say that everyone's homophobic or everyone hates gay people, but there is probably a vast few rappers that are kind of homophobic, or there's some that they won't say anything or be dumb as him, but they probably won't do any music with Lil Nas X or something of the sort, because this is just an area in hip-hop that we really haven't dove into that much. There really hasn't been that many openly gay artists. There's been openly gay R&B artists and stuff like that, but when it comes to just rapping, I can't really remember one off the top of my head. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. So that's what I'm saying. Most people have been openly receptive to Lil Nas X and him coming out, but this was our first instance of someone just being a hater. And Lil Nas X, being the person that he is, he's great at responding to people. All he said in response to Pastor Troy's comments is, damn, I look good in that photo. which is the perfect thing. You gotta show people that are beneath you that they can't affect you. And when they show that they can't affect you, it gets them even more mad. And it just shows that Lil Nas X is winning. And yeah, he's winning because his pockets are obviously doing well. I just talked about that commercial he was in. He's living his dream and Pastor Troy's just hating. Let's be real. Okay, lastly, if you saw my last video, Terry Crews and Gabrielle Union, they had some beef. So Gabrielle Union was a quote-unquote was fired from America's Got Talent due to what Gabrielle Union stated was racist and sexist. Either way, she's not with America's Got Talent anymore, and Terry Crews is. He got asked a question of what has he dealt with on the set, and pretty much to sum it up without going through the whole quote again, he went above and beyond to say he never dealt with racism. Obviously he can't speak on sexism, but he also tried to denounce Gabrielle Union's source, and he just came off as a person that did not really care about Gabrielle Union's feelings or situation at all, and was just trying to do what's best for him. And people weren't having that because, like I said, black women have stood up for Terry Crews before when it was part of the Me Too movement. He even said it in an interview that black women stood up for him the most, and he would never forget it. He tweeted that around a year ago, and we all saw that he did forget it. Now we're gonna fast forward this week. We get to around Friday, and Terry Crews has a series of tweets. And when we get to stuff like that, instead of misquoting him or misquoting the tweets, I'm just going to read it word for word. So Terry Crews goes, "I told Kevin Hart a while ago he needed to acknowledge the pain of other people. Right now I have to do the same thing. I want to apologize for the comments I made. I realize there are a lot of black women hurt and let down by what I said and also by what I didn't say." He then goes on to say, "I hear you, I respect you, and understand you. I am sorry and I'm here to support you. I spoke from my own personal point of view without first taking in consideration someone else's experience. I allowed disrespectful comments directed at me and my family that caused me to react angrily instead of responding thoughtfully. This certainly caused more harm, and it is my hope that I can amend any pain I have caused to those who are hurt by my words." And then he added Gabrielle Union, "I want you to know it was never my intention to invalidate your experience, but that is what I did. I apologize. You've been through a lot in this business, and with that I emphasize with the struggle towards fairness and equality in the workplace." Then he continued to add her, "You are a role model to the entire black community, and my desire to be professionally neutral as your co-worker. I should have at the very least understood you just needed my support. Sincerely, Terry Crews." So, a lot of apologetic words, but if you read his mentions or everything so far, people aren't receptive to it. And even Dwayne Wade, as we all know, Gabrielle Union's husband, tweeted, he said, "Somebody take Terry Crews' phone." So clearly Gabrielle Union don't want to hear it. It's one of those apologizing after the fact. So you stated how you felt, you went above and beyond to say you only care what your wife had to say, but then you realized, damn, my wife is the only person that actually pays my checks. I actually need fans and people to support me. So then you do this apology. This is where you were either better off just not saying anything after that than just apologizing, and you could have just stuck with that. But now you're this person that's playing both lanes. You're the person that wants to kiss America Got Talent's ass, to do whatever they want, but then you also want to apologize and still have the support of black women that you clearly turned a blind eye to at that key moment. It's hard to have sympathy for you. It's hard to take that apology serious. Actions speak louder than words, so if the situation happens going forward, we'll see what happens. But I just want to say a lot of people aren't forgiving in this world, and once you've been canceled in their eyes, they're not going back to you. So we'll see. Terry Crews, this has not been the best 2 weeks for you. So let me know in the comment section. If you're a black woman, after all this situation with Gabrielle Union and Terry Crews, are you done with Terry Crews and any of his work going forward? Or would you still give him another chance after all this? I'd love to know. And only if you're a black woman. I don't want to hear it if you're a man. I don't want to hear it if you're a white woman, any other woman. This is particularly for black women, because this is who he was addressing. Because I've seen people on Twitter that weren't either of those trying to accept his apology. And what's the point in that? He wasn't addressing it. So yeah, like I said in the beginning of the show, this was really a mourning week of Kobe. The news wasn't that astronomical. There wasn't anything crazy happening. As we all know, it was Super Bowl week. Chiefs won. It was a good game. The commercials were pretty boring. The halftime show, it was good visually, but for the ears, it could definitely have been better, or they could have had better Florida artists or done something. But I wasn't really a huge fan of, like I said, the music. Then we had Lil Nas. He's been winning this week, but he had to deal with homophobia. He dealt with it gracefully. And then, like I said, Terry Crews, who only cared about what his wife had to say until he realized, hey, this might affect my wallet in the future. So now he apologizes. Like I said, I don't want to see a black woman. Will you support Terry Crews going forward, or are you done with him? So yeah, just remember, I post my videos noon Eastern time. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell for all my videos. Like, comment, share this video with your friends if you enjoyed it. This is Chris, I'm out this motherfucker.